Well, it looks like it is short season because a lot of these tokens are trending to zero. Many blockchains that were highly anticipated are also trending to zero. And we have a lot of new tokens and blockchains launching in the next few weeks, but we don't have new users, which means that could be an opportunity to short. So we're going to look for why these tokens have trended to zero, why new projects will also do that, and if we can identify that pattern, that is an opportunity for us to make money shorting those coins. Now, there's other opportunities in crypto too, like airdrop farming and arbitrage, and we'll lightly jump into that in this video as well. But these are just my own thoughts, my own strategy of how to make it in the crypto market. But of course, it isn't financial advice because I'm just some guy on the internet. So please do your own research and form your own opinion, as I'm just sharing mine in this video. All right, if that sounds good, I'm Dan, and let's get started. So why do these coins trend to zero? Well, that's because there just isn't demand for it. Now, Berachain isn't that unique. It is its own blockchain where it can run smart contracts, much like every other blockchain that has been launching and that has launched. Now, one of the biggest problems is they raised a lot of money and a lot of the investors dumped and manipulated the airdrop. At least that's what people are speculating about. So let's read this. Berachain, I think, is the ultimate grift L1. It is a pure fork. That means it is a copy of another existing blockchain technology that brings nothing to the table. So it doesn't differentiate itself from anything else except for vibes. Now, don't come after me. I'm just reading this. It's almost as useless as Blast, which is also another useless blockchain. Okay, you can come after me for that one, but I'm just saying no one's using it. Now, it is just another VC insider grift, people wanting to get rich off of Ethereum tech, meaning it does the same thing as Ethereum, but lower fees. A huge supply is given to founders and early investors who got in at anything from $50 million. So they got in at a much lower valuation than everyone else when they were selling the token at a $2 billion valuation. To add to that, their inflation will be in the form of another token, BGT, which can be one-to-one converted to BERA, meaning BERA will have perpetual inflation and the token will tank indefinitely. So when we're talking inflationary about a token, that means there is an infinite amount of that token. It just gets printed, and if it's easy to print, well, it's easy to sell. Then the post goes into the innovation that they're using to lock people into providing liquidity while the token trends to zero. So that is what's happening with Berachain. I know that's up to a lot of different criticism, but if there just isn't a demand for a token and the blockchain fundamentally works like other blockchains and there's nothing to do there, as tokens get unlocked and printed, that token is just going to trend to zero. And to learn from the past, because some of the biggest launches in the last year were Starknet, Mode, Blast, ZK Sync, Scroll, Dimension, they're all down bad because, yes, there were a lot of incentives, there were VC funding, but there just isn't enough demand or activity there for people to actually use that blockchain. So for myself, I try to understand what I'm investing in by using these products and just to see what the experience is like and to see what's actually happening there. Now, the biggest problem in crypto right now is there isn't much to do. A lot of these blockchains work the same way. A lot of the applications within those blockchains also work the same way. So for the most part, everything is the same, especially when it comes to EVM. That is the Ethereum virtual machine. That could be a layer 1 blockchain, layer 2, layer 3, that all use smart contracts based on Ethereum. Now there are other alt L1s like Solana and Sui that I like, that I think have a better experience. And that's where most of my crypto activity happens on, just because it provides a different and better experience, in my opinion. So to understand why these blockchains aren't doing well, think of Starbucks. You have one Starbucks, it's really popular, everyone in the neighborhood goes there for coffee, and they're making money. They're making a lot of money. But if you open a ton of Starbucks and it's the same amount of people, every single Starbucks there is going to struggle. And the same thing is happening for blockchains right now because we're not getting new users into this ecosystem. Everyone is sharing the same amount of users. So these are the tokens that are launching in Q1 of 2025, and there's quite a few. So if we don't have new users coming in and we have more products, well, attention's going to be split between all of them. And if there were VCs, they want to get their money back. So those blockchains and tokens, they need liquidity. They need you to bring money there. So they incentivize you with free tokens with airdrops. And when you have airdrop farmers, they know they have to sell their tokens as quickly as possible because everyone else is going to dump too, which is why when a coin launches, we see these huge red candles. Now, there's no guarantee that this is going to happen in the future, but if there isn't any reason to use a particular blockchain and they're all providing the same incentives, we can likely assume that these are going to trend to zero. So that could create the opportunity for you to short all these new coin launches. If there's too many incentives, if there isn't enough demand, the price of the coin will likely drop, which means shorting will make you money. Because if you're investing in crypto, I'm sure you've seen, we're not having the exact same alt season that we've had in the past. Bitcoin, pretty close to new all-time highs, that's been pumping, but a lot of these other altcoins have not kept up, and that's because we have too many coins and not enough users. So there isn't new money flooding into the market. There aren't new applications that people are using or want to use besides pump.fun, which probably is going to do really well when they launch their token. At least it'll pump and then have some fun and then no more fun, as what happens when you do that, because that's what happens when you invest in those types of coins. And from that, we can find different types of opportunities. So let's take a look at what's launching. This is the Kaito pre-TGE arena. So TGE just means token generation event. And it shows a lot of tokens that either recently launched or will launch in the near future. So you can see they have their top 100. There is the potential of the Kaito token, and a lot of people are farming for yaps. So they're chatting about projects that are on here. And you can see there is a Yapper leaderboard. So there are incentives for people to talk about Kaito, Eclipse, Monad, Story, Zero G, Initia, Paradex, Corn, Mega ETH, and Quai. And the post-TGE, so projects that have launched already, Anime, Fuel, Movement, Starknet, Scion, Pengu, IQ, Barachain, Frax, Mantle, and Say. As you can see here, I have 0 yaps, and I probably need to talk about tokens more, and I need smart followers, so I should really get on that if I want to some yaps for the Kaito airdrop. I'll figure out how to farm yaps and then I'll share that in a future video. Now, one of the most anticipated projects is IP, Story Protocol. They promise providing IP to the blockchain, but there hasn't been any demand for that. You know, like, all right, well, you can sell IP, but if no one adopts it and there's no demand, well, maybe you raise too much money, because I think they raised like $320 million, which is a lot of money, that they need to incentivize, that they need to bring liquidity in so the VCs can dump. So that is probably a project I'll be looking at to short when they launch. So that is definitely one to watch. And then if you want to find out more about these other coins, you can look at the top 20. You can look at the top 20 here, you can look at the 21 to 50, and the top 51 to top 100. A lot of the smaller coins won't be available to short, but if you are going to short these coins, you'll likely have to do it on a decentralized perps exchange or a centralized exchange that allows you to short. I've been using BitGet. You can go long or short, and even both at the same time. This lets you take on a big win if the market pumps or dumps. BitGet is great because you get access to all the new coins early, so you can be one of the first people to go short or long when that coin launches. If you want to support the channel, feel free to use my link. The opportunities. So we kind of really focused on shorting coins that aren't going to have that demand, that do essentially the same thing as other blockchains. So opportunity 1 is shorting. If you are uncomfortable with shorting and just want to get some free tokens, well, yeah, opportunity 2. Airdrops. A lot of these projects are going to have airdrops because they need to attract a community, and they're competing with other projects that are also doing an airdrop. So you will very likely see a lot of incentives from each of the projects listed here. This is the top 100. Additionally, if you follow Layer GG official, they'll list out all the projects that are doing their TGE soon. TGE, again, token generation event, which means there might not be enough time to farm tokens for their airdrop. And then we have arbitrage, which is another very low risk method of making money in crypto. So a lot of these blockchains have different liquidity pools, and the price is going to be slightly different between them. And there isn't really a way to balance those prices besides someone manually moving money from one pool to another across chains. I know it's a little more technical, but that can be very valuable because in this post by Who is Kevin, he mentions that there's a guy using Ooga Booga, which is Berachain's crypto trade aggregator, making a USDC to ETH swap literally every single block and then arbitraging it cross-chain. Now, if he's doing it every single block, I'm sure he has some kind of automation for this, so that's why they're providing an API key to find these different pools. But you can still do it manually. It's just going to be a lot slower, and then sometimes those prices catch up to each other before you have a chance to sell. But that's just to say arbitraging is an opportunity with very limited risks, and the guy doing arbitrage has made over 500,000 US dollars doing this. So it could be pretty lucrative, but if a lot of you guys start doing this, well, the opportunity is going to become more limited. So we've learned that there are too many blockchains and not enough users. So if we're bullish on crypto, we want to find projects that we love that can potentially bring in new users. That could be very valuable. And if we see another project that does the same thing as everything else and has a lot of VC backing and big airdrops, and some of the other opportunities in crypto are airdrops and arbitrage. So if this video was helpful, you know what to do. I'm going to shill my BitGet referral links in the description if you want to use those. And with that, I hope you got your full value for today.